After a year on the road, I thought I'd get tired of traveling. The endless clatter of railways, highways, and everything in between. But as my train pulled into the station at Bellariva, I felt every bit as excited as the first day of my journey. A whole year. It felt like a lifetime. The places I'd seen, the people I'd met, of course, the forgotten treasures I'd given a new lease of life along the way. I'm a restorer by trade. Bringing our most beloved possessions back to life is what I love to do. I'd been traveling for months, working my way from one town to the next, fixing everything from family heirlooms to VCRs. Bellariva was my chance to take a break. Unfortunately, that would have to wait until after I'd unpacked. Who doesn't love a scrunchie? Practical and stylish. The tools of my trade. No hope of restoring things without these. My favorite overalls. These will never go out of style. Looking forward to taking more close-ups of my fingers with this. I'll hand these out once I'm settled in. Fingers crossed they get me some work. I picked up these sunglasses on my last stop. Hopefully I'm cool enough to pull them off. I saw a guitarist wearing these at a show once. Rock and roll repair woman, at your service. Finally, I'd made it to Bellariva. I'd come for the food festival, taking place in a few days' time. After living off TV dinners and instant ramen for the last few months, I was craving a decent meal. Of course, I'd need to earn enough money to pay for it, so I figured I'd head out the next day and find some work. My parents never wanted me to go. They wanted me to stay in their shop and have a simple, stationary life. I knew there was a world out there, beyond the four walls of our antique store, that I had to be a part of. I daydreamed constantly about the weird and wonderful places each of our antiques came from. I loved figuring out their stories, revealing the memories hidden beneath the screws and wires. My story in Bellariva began with a little girl and a voice she was longing to hear. It was my first morning in Bellariva, and I couldn't wait to leave my hotel and explore. It was a quiet town, its streets and alleyways basking peacefully in the hot morning sun. In the main square, meanwhile, preparations were underway for the festival in a few days' time. As I handed out my flyers, I wondered what the people of Bellariva would need me to fix. So far, everything here seemed perfect. I was starting to worry I'd made a mistake when I felt someone tapping me on the back.
Hi, I'm Izzy. Do you know how to fix things?
It was a little girl, maybe 7 years old, who must have gotten hold of one of my flyers. She rummaged around in her backpack until she hauled out a battered red cassette deck.
My tape is broken and I can't make it work anymore. I tried to fix it myself, but there's this metal thing in the way. Can you try?
Those batteries look like they need replacing. Luckily, I have some spares.
Why did you do that?
Will you dream a dream for me? If I sit by your side and hold you so tight.
When it finished, Izzy picked up the tape deck and tucked it carefully into her backpack.
Thanks, Maria. You're the best person at fixing things ever.
No problem. Who was that singing? They're very good.
It's my mum. She's not here anymore.
Izzy trailed off. It was the kind of silence a cassette tape would never be enough to fill. When Izzy's friends called for her, she dug deep into her pockets, looking for something to pay me with. Eventually, she produced a grand total of a stick of gum, 3 mismatched buttons, and a yo-yo. I usually preferred a check, but Izzy looked so serious, I wrote out a full receipt. She seemed like a happy kid, but beneath it all, part of her life had been shattered. Part I wouldn't be able to fix. My first repair complete, I spent the rest of the day doing small jobs in and around the square. I was exhausted when I got back to my hotel and found a message asking me to make one more visit. The address led me to a quaint little house, a stone's throw from the beach. Bathed in the evening light, it looked beautiful, in spite of its flaking paintwork and chipped tiles. The front door was opened by a harried-looking man, still dressed from a long day at the office.
Are you Maria? My name's Joseph. I'm Isabel's father. I'm so sorry she bothered you this morning. Please, come in. I'd like to settle up properly.
On the mantelpiece, I saw the remains of a broken statue. Without thinking, I picked up a fragment.
Ah, my father's statue. What's left of it, at least. Yet another way I'd have disappointed him. It survived 100 years in this family. But 5 minutes with Isabel and... Do you think you can salvage it? Will you be able to see the glue afterwards? I don't want people seeing the cracks. Is this glue really strong enough to hold everything together? Sometimes I think my daughter should come with a warning label. Thank you, Maria. It looks as perfect as it ever did. My father wanted me to make something of myself. He didn't have time for anything less.
As Joseph put the statue back on the shelf, it nudged against the family portrait stood proudly next to it. So he was Bellariva's mayor. And that was Izzy's mom. They must both miss her so much.
Sorry, I'm a little tired. I've been working late getting things sorted for the festival. There's only a few days to go. Looks like I'll be working late. Again?
When I told my parents I wanted to leave, they always found an excuse to be busy, to avoid talking about it. I guess keeping themselves occupied was their way of pretending it wasn't happening. Joseph's work must have been taking up so much of his time. But maybe that was what he wanted. I just hoped he was finding enough time for Izzy, too. My second day in Bellariva dawned bright and clear, another beautiful sunny morning. Walking into town, I passed cafes overflowing with customers cradling their morning coffees. I stopped, breathing in the smell of roasted coffee beans and freshly baked pastries. I was about to go inside when the owner of Carmen's, the cafe next door, stopped me.
Hello, Maria? Were you here yesterday handing out flyers? I have a job for you.
Her place was petite, tucked between its competitors as if hoping they wouldn't notice. Judging by the empty tables inside, though, her potential customers hadn't noticed it either.
It's a bit slow today, but we're just getting started. I'm sure it'll pick up soon.
As Carmen chatted, she walked over to the counter and returned with an old rotary phone.
At least I've got plenty of time to practice my recipe for the festival. It's a new special I've been working on. I was hoping to call my sister for some, seasoning tips, but it won't connect. Can you see if you can figure out what's wrong? Obviously, we'd normally be much busier than this. You can fix it, can't you? I can't afford to replace it.
Looks like this new circuit board is all hooked up. When I handed the phone back to Carmen, she seemed almost reluctant to take it from me.
So it's all working now, is it? I don't have to leave it to dry or let it cool down?
Nope, it's ready to go. It'll be ringing off the hook in no time.
That's if I can pay my phone bill anyway. And the rent and the suppliers. Anyway, take a seat and I'll be right with you. Your coffee's on the house.
I sat at one of the empty tables, while at the counter, Carmen had started dialing the phone.
Hello? How's my favourite sister doing today?
As she talked, Carmen became more and more tense. This didn't seem like a call for some cooking advice.
I know I still owe you from last time, but I can't afford to take part in the festival if I don't pay.
I could almost feel the eye roll at the other end of the line.
You don't need to be here, though. Can't you just put the check in the post?
When the call ended, Carmen brought me my coffee, her hands trembling.
Sorry about that. My sister's decided to fly in for a visit. Oh, God, I have to get ready. Actually, I might have another job for you. Can you come by tomorrow?
The next day, I'd promised Carmen I'd return to help her get the cafe ready for her sister's arrival. I was about to set out when I received an unexpected call from my hotel's reception desk. Apparently, another guest had asked for me by name. Curious, I took the creaking elevator up to the top floor and made my way to the room number they'd given. I knocked.
Are you here about the camera? It's about time.
The woman in front of me was immaculate. Not a hair out of place or a crease to be seen.
My sister tells me you know how to fix things. I'd usually go to an expert, of course, but in this town...
So this was Carmen's sister? The two of them couldn't have been more different. Inside her room, I saw a beautiful reflex camera, any professional photographer's dream.
The viewfinder is completely dark. I can't see anything through it at all. I assume you can figure out what's wrong? I don't suppose you've fixed anything this valuable before.
If I used the screwdriver, I could adjust the angle of the mirror. Perfect. Now the viewfinder should be working. There's still a part I need to attach. Where does it go? I felt a pang of envy as I handed the camera to Helena. I put my disposable to shame.
I picked it up on my first trip to Paris. It's a 1958 limited edition, the first of its kind. It cost me 3 months' salary, but it was worth it.
I had no idea what 3 months' salary meant to Helena, but I was pretty sure it was more than I could afford. It was strange, really, that we were even staying in the same hotel. I'd picked this place because it was cheap and cheerful, but surely she could afford somewhere better? She took some test shots, fiddling with the camera settings until she was absolutely satisfied.
This work is immaculate. At least there's one person in this town who knows what they're doing. Sending you to me might be the first thing Carmen's actually gotten right.
I wondered why Helena had bothered coming if she thought so little of her sister.
I hear nothing from her for weeks, and then when she finally does call me, all she wants is money. If she thinks I'm lending her another penny, she'll have to convince me it's not a total waste of time.
That didn't sound good. If Hurricane Helena was about to hit, I hoped Carmen was ready. The sun was setting over Bellariva by the time I reached Carmen's cafe. From the outside, it looked as quiet as ever, but inside, I found Carmen cleaning like her life depended on it.
Maria! Oh, don't mind all of this. If Helena finds one speck of dust in here, I'll never hear the end of it.
Carmen seemed pleased to see me, but I sensed the fidgeting tension beneath each sweep of her mop. Trying to live up to the standards of someone like Helena seemed like an impossible task.
I hope you didn't mind fixing the camera for her. She was furious when it broke. I really need this to go well. If she doesn't lend me the money, I don't know how long I can keep this place going.
Carmen led me to a back room, where she'd laid out the components of what looked like a neon sign.
I had this made when I first opened the cafe, but I'm hopeless with electronics.
So there was supposed to be a sign outside. This might explain the lack of customers.
I'd like to put it up before Helena gets here. Can you give it a try? know, it's a bit, flat. Maybe if it flashes, it'll really catch people's eye.
Great idea. I think I have a spare part that could do that.
It still needs something else. Maybe we can add one of these.
It works! I'll screw everything together again and you'll be set. The sign fixed, we headed outside and mounted it carefully over the cafe door.
Oh, that's perfect, Maria. It looks just how I imagined it. When I had this sign made, it all seemed so simple. Oh, I can't believe I might have to give it all up. I hope I've done enough.
The smile froze on her face as she spotted something over my shoulder. I turned to see.
Of course, my sister owns the only cafe in this entire town that isn't actually open.
For better or worse, Helena had arrived. Carmen opened her mouth to explain, but Helena swept indifferently past her. Finally pausing in the doorway, she turned back towards Carmen.
The first thing we're doing is getting rid of that hideous sign.
And with that, she disappeared inside. I hoped Carmen's chances of saving the cafe hadn't disappeared with her. It was the day before the festival, and the whole town was busy getting ready. I had more work than I knew what to do with. When Joseph called with another job, I was craving the cool quiet of his and Izzy's seafront house. I'd barely reached their front door when I heard someone calling me.
Psst, Maria, I need your help. Quickly, it's top secret.
It was Izzy, peeking out from the side of the house. She beckoned for me to follow her. She led me through to a beautiful, unruly garden overflowing with flowers of every color. Nestled among them was a playhouse, its doorway almost completely obscured by a towering rose bush.
You have to squeeze past it and breathe in real small, like this.
Izzy took in a big gulp of air and crawled through the gap and into the playhouse. I hadn't planned on crawling in the dirt today, but the life of a repairwoman never did run smooth. On the table inside, there was an electronic toy. Not exactly the usual stock in my parents' antique shop.
I had an accident. I didn't do it on purpose or anything, but it won't turn on anymore. Can you fix it for me? Why does it sound so scary? It wasn't like that before. Still sounds really bad. Is it meant to look like that? It's weird. I don't like it. Do grown-ups play games as well? Can you show me how to play? I tried before, but it was so hard.
Her toy fixed, I watched Izzy retreat into its screen, taking refuge in a 3-inch world of her own. Well, I'd better head inside. Your dad is waiting for me.
Please don't tell him about the game. He'll think I broke it on purpose.
Why would he think that?
Because, well, I kind of dropped it really hard at the wall.
Izzy looked down, scuffing her shoes on the worn floor of the playhouse.
My dad said I had to go to this stupid festival tomorrow and put on a stupid dress, and I don't want to. All he cares about is working. He never wants to see me unless it's for his job. I'm not going. He can't make me.
With that, Izzy dove back through the rosebush and disappeared into the wilds of the garden. She was so young. She couldn't be expected to see that her dad was struggling too. It made me think, had I really tried hard enough to understand my parents' point of view? I was so focused on the adventures ahead of me, maybe I didn't care enough about leaving them behind. Leaving Izzy hiding in the garden, I walked around to the front of the house and rang the doorbell. It was only then I noticed my favorite overalls covered in grass stains. I scrubbed desperately, but it was too late.
Maria, what are you doing? What happened to your clothes?
I was, repairing a lawnmower.
How unusual. Well, do come in. The job I've got for you is a little more delicate.
Totally embarrassed, I walked into an orderly room filled with papers and ledgers. So this was his office. You must be so busy getting ready for the festival. Are you looking forward to it?
Of course. It's traditional for the mayor to judge food from every cafe and restaurant in town. I'll be declaring the best chef in Bella Riva by this time tomorrow. Speaking of which...
He unclipped the watch from his wrist and very carefully handed it to me.
I'll have a tight schedule to follow, but my watch stopped working a while ago. Could you see if you can make it tick again? Are you sure it will all fit back together?
Ah, the main plate has completely cracked. I'll need to replace it. The cogs look good, though. If I'm careful, I can reuse those.
I've not gone a day without this watch since my wife gave it to me.
As I handed the watch back to Joseph, my fingers traced over the engraving on the back. I hoped fixing this was one small way I could help him move forward.
I can't believe it's working, Maria. Thank you. My wife was a brilliant woman. Feeling this ticking on my wrist, it makes me feel like she's still here. Watches measure minutes and hours like they're infinite. I didn't know we had so little time. Even with Isabel, I barely see her. And when I do, she acts like she hates me.
Just then, the phone rang. Even when he was at home, his work was never done.
Sorry, Maria. I have to take this. I'll see you at the festival tomorrow.
As I left, I turned and saw him pacing the floor of his office, his watch glinting in the afternoon sun. I hoped its quiet ticking would at least bring him some peace during the busy days to come. When my last job of the day brought me to Carmen's apartment, the door was opened by someone I didn't expect to see, Helena.
Sorry for inflicting this mess on you. Carmen's never seen a knick-knack she doesn't want to buy, apparently.
Carmen's apartment was a little chaotic, but totally charming. It was easy to imagine her living in a place like this. It definitely wasn't Helena's style. She seemed more upmarket than flea market. I wondered why she was even here.
We're having a clear-out, or at least I am. Carmen's not helping, as usual. There's a market at the festival tomorrow. I'm selling some of these things to make her some money. She says she has nothing when there's all this stuff right under her nose.
Helena stepped delicately past the items on the floor and reached down to pick up one from the pile.
Look at this slide projector. Our parents treasured it, but Carmen treats it like a piece of junk. Can you take a look?
That light bulb is completely smashed. Okay, I'll need to redirect the light to the lens at the top for the projector to work. Oh, typical. Carmen's even managed to get a slide stuck in here.
I was so excited when I moved to the city. Carmen, she looks so sad. Here's the clicker you'll need to attach. God knows how Carmen broke that as well.
There's still a part I need to attach. Where does it go? There's still a part I need to attach. Where does it go? There's still a part I need to attach. Where does it go? I think I've missed a screw somehow.
When we were younger, Carmen was always following me around. I suppose she looked up to me. A cool older sister. She used to ask me when I was coming home, but I was always too busy.
Helena was transfixed, staring at the two young sisters the projector had brought glaringly into focus.
I never meant to let her down.
But you haven't, have you? You came all this way just to help with the cafe. Plus the money.
That's the problem. There is no money. I lost my job a few months ago. My savings are almost gone. I have nothing. Carmen thinks I'll throw my checkbook at her bad decisions and make them okay. But I can't. Not this time. You know, the funny thing is, I came here wanting to tell her the truth. But she's so infuriating. How can I ask her for help when all she cares about is herself?
Helena fell silent, shrinking under the gaze of her younger self, projected onto the wall.
We drifted so far apart when I moved away. It felt like the only thing keeping us together was my bank balance. I know I have to tell her the truth. It isn't fair. But I already lost everything else. What if I lose her too?